Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so the next program is a word game, and the question wants us to write a program that plays a word game with the user. Now, so the program is going to ask the user to enter these things, right? So it's going to ask the user to enter the name, age, city, college, profession, animal, and pet name. And then after the user has entered all this information, the question wants us to write the program to display this story with these values: name, city, age, the values that the user entered. So basically, whatever the user entered should replace these variables or these placeholders. So if the user entered, let's say, Sally, then it should read there once was a person named Sally, and so on. Okay, so I'll go straight to it and I'll create the class. And then I'll create the main method. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and I'll declare the variables that we're going to store these values in. So declare variables. So the first variable is going to be the name, and the person's name, and that's going to be a string, and I'll call it name. I don't have to initialize it now, because that will be what the person is going to enter in there. Okay, so the second variable is going to be the age, and age is going to be an integer, and I'll call it age. The third is going to be the city. The city is going to be a string, and I'll call it city. Fourth is going to be the college, also going to be a string. The next is going to be profession. That's also going to be a string. The next one is going to be the name of the animal. That's also going to be a string. And the last one is going to be the pet's name. Type 1. Okay, so pet's name. And also that's going to be a string. So pet name. Okay, so since we're going to be accepting input, I have two options. I can either use the J option pane or I can use a scanner. I'm going to use the scanner for this one. And to use a scanner, you have to tell the program where the scanner is located, or basically you have to give the program access to the scanner class so it can use it. And I'm going to do that by importing it. Okay, so now that the program has access to the scanner class, now I can go ahead and create a scanner object. And I'll call it scanner. I'm passing the system.in method. The in method will accept byte information, and the methods in the scanner class will convert it to whatever we need them converted to. So system.in, and I'm connecting it to the scanner object. So we can use the classes we can use the methods in the scanner class. Yeah. Alright, so now we have a scanner object. So now we can go ahead, we have the variables ready. We can go ahead and ask the user for the information. So the first thing we're going to ask the user is system.out.print is going to be the name. The first thing we're going to ask the user is going to be the name. So system.out.print ln, please, I'm supposed to be in double quote. right, so please enter your name, and we are going to prompt a text box to accept the user's name, and we're going to do that with a scanner object. So it's going to be scanner dot next line, and next line is going to prompt that text box and accept input. Prompt that text box to accept input from the user. And once we have the input, we can go ahead and store that in name, because we asked the person's name. And we can go ahead and repeat this for the next one. The next one is going to be the age. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this here. Just make sure. And change this to please enter your age. But instead of change this also to age. But instead of using scanner.nextLine, next line is for strings, by the way, strings. Instead of scanner.nextLine, we're going to change it to scanner.nextInt, because we are accepting an integer into this integer variable. Okay, so the next one is going to be the city, which is also going to be a string. So please enter, change this to please enter your city, change this variable to city. That's where we're going to store whatever the user is going to type. And scanner.nextLine is fine, because nextLine accepts strings, and it's going to store the string here. So that's fine. Oops, I hit Control B by mistake. Sorry. Okay, so the next one is going to be the college, right? So change this to college. Change the variable name to college, the variable that we're going to store the college into. And college is going to be a string. Next line is fine, because that accepts strings. And then next thing is going to be profession. Please enter your profession. Change the variable name to profession. And profession is a string, so next line is fine, because that accepts string once again. Okay, so the next one is going to be animal. Please enter the name. Let me see. A type. Please enter a type of animal. Please enter a type of animal. All right. A type of animal. And we're going to store that in the animal variable. And since that's going to be a string, next line is fine. Okay. All right, so the last one I think is going to be the pet name. We have to change this to please enter your pet's name. Your pet's name, or the name of your pets. I mean, it's fine. Please enter your pet name, and please enter the name of your pet. Change this to pet's name, and that's a string. And next line is fine, because pet name is also a string. Okay, so now after this block of code, after this code executes, we're going to have the values stored in the variables, all the values stored in the variables. So now all we have to do is display them the way the program wants us to display it. The program wants us to display it this way, replacing these placeholders, name, city, age, with the values that we have stored in these variables. Okay. All right, so now we can do that. Sorry. So I'm just going to put a comment here and say display story. And I'm going to do a system.out.println. I don't know if the program said we should use only one println statement, but we are going to use only one println statement. Let me see. It didn't say. So we're going to use only one println statement to print out the story. Okay, let me bring this up so we can see it. Okay, so take this down for now. All right, so this is the story here. All right, so we're going to write it exactly the same. So there was once a person named, all right, so there was once, oops, my typings can be rough sometimes. There was once a person named, all right, so named name, and we have name stored in over here, so we can now concatenate it with the plus sign and put the variable there. There's a space here, so named name, and then continue the story by concatenating with more text. Put a space. Who lived in city? So who lived in space. We have city stored here, so we can concatenate it with the variable and concatenate it and continue. But after city, there's a period. So after city, there's a period right here. And then we can now continue with a space after that here. So at the age of age, right? So at the age of, we have age stored here, so we can use that. So I'm going to concatenate that with age. So at the age of age, and there's a comma there, so I'm going to concatenate it with more text, comma, name went to college, at college. Name went to college, at college. So we have two variables here, name and college. So at the age of age, I'm going to go ahead and break this in the next line here. Okay, just do it here. So at the age of age, name went to college, at college. We are reusing name again. So name is stored in this variable name. So name, I've concatenated it already here. So name, I'm adding more text, went to college, at. College is stored in the variable college, so we can concatenate that and put college there. So went to college at, concatenate that with college, and concatenate that again with more text. College, at college, and there's a period there, so period. All right, and I'm going to concatenate that with the next thing. So next thing is name graduated and went to work as a profession. So all right, so name is also, remember, name is stored in this variable. So name, where is it? Okay, so there's more text, so I'm going to concatenate that. Graduated and went to work as a profession is stored in profession, so we can concatenate this, oops, and put profession there. You know what, I'll concatenate it and break it on the next line before I do that, so I don't want it going off the screen, off the IDE. Okay, so, and went to work as a profession, so I can now put profession here. What's the next thing? All right, there's a period there, so that's going to be text. I'm going to concatenate that with text. All right, so there's more text. Then name, I'm going to concatenate that with name. Adopted, more text. A or an animal, and animal is stored also in this variable. We're almost done with this variable, in this variable. So name adopted a or an animal, and named pet name. Okay, so that's more text. Named pet name is stored in this variable, so we can go ahead and reuse it. Sorry. Named, pet name. All right. All right, so named pet name. We have pet name stored here. All right, so there's more text to that. There's a period and there's more text. So they both lived. Let's see if this is going to work. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to concatenate it to break. Concatenate it to break the line, and I'll continue the next line. So they both. I'm continuing it with more text. They both lived happily ever after. Okay. Looks like we're done. Okay, so now it looks like this is going to print out the story. So let's go ahead and compile it. And word game. All right, so I'm going to save it in the folder where I'm saving all the programs, and I'm going to create a new folder for it. So word game. I'm sorry, word game, and I'll save all the files here. Okay, so we have a problem. It says a semicolon here expected, and this line was the line that was highlighted. So I forgot to put the semicolon, so I'm going to put it there, and I'll compile it again. And it worked. All right, so let's go ahead and run it. All right, so it's asking us the value. So please enter your name. I'm going to put Kakra. Please enter your age. I'm going to put 26. Okay, so there's a problem. There's a problem. All right, so let me explain this. So anytime there's something called the keyboard buffer, right? So anytime you use, and this is only with numbers, right? So as far as I know, this is only with integers and doubles numbers. Maybe something else, but anytime you use next int, it creates an extra line break in the keyboard buffer, right? So integers and doubles are fine. They can skip over that keyboard buffer and accept whatever the user entered, right? And I hope you understand this. So anytime you use like a next int or next double, not next line, next int or next double, it leaves an extra line break in the keyboard buffer. So anytime you use next int or next double, it's designed to skip over that line break and accept whatever integer or double the user entered. But a next line is not designed to skip over that line break. It first takes in that line break. It first takes it in, and that's it. I mean, once it encounters that line, it doesn't take it in. But let me explain it this way. Let me put it this way. Once the next line encounters a line break, it stops. It's not designed to skip over that line break. You can also describe it as it's taking the line break and stopping there. It has accepted the line break and stopped there. That was what I was trying to explain earlier. So I hope that I know this is confusing, but let me try and make it clear one more time. All right. So as far as I know, anytime you use a next int or next double, they're both numbers. It apart from it storing the user's input in the keyboard buffer, it stores an additional line break. So next int and next doubles are designed to skip, are designed to take the input and skip over the line break before taking the next input. next line is not designed to skip over the line break. So if the next line method encounters the line break, it stops there. You can describe it as it takes in the line break and stops there, or you can just say that once it encounters the line break, it stops there. And that's what happened to this. Please enter your city. That's what happened to this. So please enter your city is right here. Let's see here. What happened with this was this next line character encountered a line break, and next line is not designed to skip over line breaks like the way next int and next doubles are. Next line is not designed to skip over that. So once next line encountered a line break, it stopped there. Or you can say it took away that line break. So now there's nothing there. So when this next line, was called, it didn't encounter any line break because this has already taken it. So this was able to accept the user's input, but this one wasn't. This one city, wasn't able to skip over it. It rather took in that line break and stopped there. And that's why we're getting this error. I know it can be complex, but I hope you at least have a picture. So there's a way to fix this, right? There's a way to fix this. It's I think you can put. Let's try this. You can just call scanner. Let's see, scanner.nextLine. Let's see. Next int. All right, no, you can put it right here. You can do this. So remember when I said when next int is called, it leaves after taking in the user's input, it leaves a line break, right? And this next line encountered that line break and didn't know what to do. But next line is not designed to skip over line breaks, right? So I know this is confusing. Let me make it clear, right, once and for all. All right. So anytime a next line is called, a next int is called, right, it leaves a line break after the user's input. So if the user enters, let's say 23, it's going to put in 23. Let me just do it. It's going to put in 23 and also a line break, right? So it's going to accept 23 and put it here. So now 23 and put it in age. So now 23 is gone. 23 is in age, but there's a line break in the keyboard buffer. So the next thing, when next line is called, the next thing next line encounters in the keyboard buffer is a line break, and it doesn't know what to do with it. It stops there. It takes it in and stops there. So now it's cleared line break. So there's that's what's stored in city. You can think of it that way, or that's what has been cleared. It's been cleared away. This next line has consumed that line break. So now there's nothing there. And that's why when college encountered, went to the keyboard buffer, it didn't encounter anything. It encountered nothing, and that's why it was able to prompt for input. So when this happens, I'm going to bring it back. When this happens, 23 is now stored in age, which goes away. The line break is there. We don't want this next line to encounter a line break because it's not designed to skip over line breaks. So what we do is we consume that. We just consume it. We don't store it anywhere. We consume that with scanner.next, another next line. We just consume it. We don't use it. We don't store it in a variable. We just take it away. We just consume it. So this city doesn't encounter anything. I think this is the fix for it. Let's just try. I'm going to compile it and run. So please enter your name, Kakra. Your age 26. See, now city worked, because if the user enters, let's say when it gets to age and the user enters 23, next int now takes 23 and stores it in age. But I said ints and doubles leave a line break in the keyboard buffer, leaves it behind. So now this is the next thing, the next thing to be seen when anyone encounters the keyboard buffer. Now next line encounters this line break in the keyboard buffer. Next line is not designed to skip over line breaks, but next int, if the next thing here was next int, it would be able to skip over this. It would be able to skip over it. But next lines are not designed to skip over it. They consume the line break. You can say they take the line break away, and that's it. You can say that they take that line break as input, and that's it, and they stop there, and they move on to the next thing. Because they are not designed to skip over it, they consume the line break, and they won't allow you to add in anything else. Now they've taken the line break as input, sort of. So they won't allow you to put in anything again. They'll just stop there. They'll stop there. So the way to do that is to consume this manually before this next line. Is to consume this manually before this next line for city is encountered, so that it can take in whatever you want to enter. And to do that, to clear that, we just consume it by saying scanner.nextLine. You take it away. We don't store it in any variable. We just consume that line break away. So if this next line is called, it comes to the keyboard buffer and it doesn't encounter anything. The next thing it encounters is just your input, which is going to be, let's say, city. Could be anything. Let's say if your city is Takoradi, it will take that. It will take that city name and move on. If it doesn't encounter a line break, it will just take this. If it encounters a line break, it will consume that line break and stop there. And that's what happens. So let me just. I'm sorry, I'm over explaining again. I don't really see it as over explaining. I just want it to be clear. So if you already understand this and it's boring to you, then I'm sorry. But I want it to be clear to everyone. That's why I'm doing this. So I'll go ahead and I'll take this away. And I'll take this away too. And I'll take it back to how it was at first. So now, I'm just going to run through this one more time to make it clear. I've entered my name. I've entered my age. But if I put in this age, it's going to leave a line break behind. It's going to accept 26, put it in age, and leave a line break behind. And next line is going to encounter that line break, but it's going to take that line break, and that's it, and move on to next college. To the next thing, which is college. So that's why it's not allowing you to enter anything there, because there was a line break there. This city has consumed it, but we don't want the city to consume that. We want the city to consume our text. So because we don't want the city to consume that, we consume it manually ourselves by using scanner.nextLine. Right? And we don't store it in any variable. We don't store. We just take it away. And then now we can go ahead and move on, because now there is no line break in the keyboard buffer. City can now go ahead, accept our regular input, and move on. Okay. All right. So I hope this was clear. I know I didn't really explain it well, but I hope it was a bit clear. You can read more on keyboard buffer. What happens, with the keyboard buffer there too. Some people, what some people do is they create second kind of object, and although that works, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but this is really what happens, and this is what takes away that extra line break. Okay, so and also if anyone has more knowledge on it, please put it in the comment section. But again, you can read more on it. You can just Google it and read more of it. Maybe you understand it there. But this was just to give you a general understanding of what is happening, or general knowledge to start with, and then you can read more on it later. All right, so I'll move on. I think I talked too much. All right, so I'm going to put in my name, Kakra, put in my age, 26. Now city works, so I'm going to put in Takoradi because that's where I'm from. It's in Ghana, Takoradi. I love that place. And please enter your college. I'm going to enter Southern Connecticut State University. Okay. So I think what happens with next line is next line doesn't leave any line break, behind based on what I've explained. Because based on what's happening, next line is not leaving any line break behind. Because if it was leaving any line break behind, the next line would stop there. So I think next ends and next doubles are the ones that leaves line breaks behind. So it's what I was explaining earlier. So if you don't understand it, you can go back or you can read more about it. So that's good. I think what left the line break behind was the next int, and we cleared it away. We took it away now. So everything else is working normally because next line doesn't leave any line break behind based on what's happening here. All right, so profession, I'm just going to write a web developer because that's what I want to be, or a web programmer. I love doing that for now. And please enter a type of animal. I'm just going to write dog. Please enter the name of your pet. I'm just going to write Ebenezer or a bee. A bee. A bee. Because we had a dog, we called it that, but it's dead. Unfortunately. All right, so I think the next thing is going to be okay. So that's it. All right, so there was once a person named Kakra who lived in Takoradi. At the age of 26, Kakra went to college at Southern Connecticut State University. Kakra graduated and went to, I haven't graduated yet. Kakra graduated and went to work as a web developer. Then Kakra adopted a dog named Ebi. Then both lived happily ever after. I mean, this is nice. This is cool. So this, shows you how, these programs, these codes or these lines interact with each other to give you something beautiful at the end. So, yeah, read more on the keyboard buffer if it wasn't. If I know it wasn't too clear, but at least maybe the intro explanation of it. But read more about it to get more understanding of it, because this is going to happen almost every time you use next int and next lines together. So yeah, read more about it to get more understanding. And yeah, if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section, and as always, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time in the next program. Take care. Bye bye.